Welcome to the realm of magic and mystery, classic horror and sci-fi. You are now entering the House of the Unusual podcast with your hosts, Eddie and Joe. Welcome all you cool ghouls and friendly fiends to the House of the Unusual podcast. I'm your host, Joe Pavlansky, and with me as always is the maestro of mail order mysteries, Eddie Guevara. Also with me today is our one and only horror magician extraordinaire, Chuck Caputo.
Hey, all right.
Today's very special guest is Tony Hassini, founder of the International Magician Society. Gentlemen, welcome tonight. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome, man. Before we get into our little talks here, we're just going to give a shout out to our buddies. Let's start off with Stupid Comics Magazine. This is I tell you what, this is a fantastic comics magazine. I was just looking at mine, the new one prior to us getting started here, and they were nice enough to put a full page ad for House of the Unusual in the back. So you definitely want to check it out.
Ooh.
Head over to stupidcomicsmagazine.com, and it's spelled STOOPID. And the newest issue just came out, I believe, a week ago, issue number 6. And it also comes with a really cool stupid sticker. So it's fantastic. So you get a nice little treat with it. You could also, if you haven't caught up on any of the back issues, they're all available on the website for a great price. And what this is, it is a kind of a mix of Mad, Cracked, and Far Side all rolled into one. And it's absolutely hilarious. The writing's fantastic. The artwork is great, so you don't want to miss it. So head over there and check them out. Also, our buddy Dave Haversatt's site, 1878press.com, and that's 1878press.com. Tons of great books over there on magic, mentalism, psychics, mail order novelties. Most of these are really hard to find books, and if you look at a secondary market, they might be double or triple the price, so you want to head over to Dave's site and get them at the normal price. A lot of the books are discounted as well over there, and some of them are even out of stock, so they're going quick. So check that out at 1878press.com. And last but certainly not least is our buddy Todd Machin and his Sea Monkey Underwater Kingdom. You can find all his stuff at sea-monkeys.com. And there's tons of great Sea Monkey stuff there. They have aquariums, T-shirts. They have a new 2022 calendar that's out where Todd did all the design for it. It looks great. There's a puzzle. The Invisible Goldfish just came out not too long ago, so there's a whole unique set for that. And if you're just starting out for Sea Monkeys, or you've been into them for a while, there's stuff for everyone there. I know a couple months ago, Todd was grateful enough to send me 2 starter kits for my nieces who are 5 and 6. So we got them into Sea Monkeys, and as they start getting older here, it'll be magic, and we'll be pushing all kinds of stuff on them. Got to get them while they're young, right, fellas?
Oh, yeah.
So, all right, that's all we got for today for our friends. Also, make sure you guys check us out on YouTube. Just search in House of the Unusual. Subscribe to our channel, like the videos. Eddie and Chuck are always putting out something new on there. There's tons of great, and they're just short little videos too, 5-6 minutes, sometimes a little bit longer, sometimes a little bit shorter, but hey, you don't want to miss them. So check them out. And that's House of the Unusual on YouTube. We also have houseoftheunusual.com is our flagship site, and you can find all of our links from there as well. All right, gentlemen, let's get into tonight's conversation because this is going to be a great one. But first, I want to see how you guys are doing tonight. And you know what? Before everyone out there who's been listening to us for a while, everybody knows me. We all know Chuck, and everybody certainly knows Eddie. I mean, know Eddie, but not too many people might be familiar with Tony Hassini. It's his first time on our podcast, and we want to welcome him. And we're going to give him the opportunity to introduce himself to all you guys out there. So, Tony, I am turning the microphone over to you.
Fantastic. Hello, everybody. I'm Tony Hassini, and I'm the founder of the International Magician Society. I found the IMS back in 1968. We're just celebrating our 54th birthday, and it's all good. Any questions to me, Chuck, or any?
Hey, I'll tell you what. Tony and I go back, I guess 2001, maybe 2002. He was kind enough to put me on his platinum collection, two volumes. There was two different DVEs. What he put me on was the Inverti stuff, plus a lot of the electronic magic that I collect and so forth. So you know what? He's a good guy. If you guys out there are getting into magic, or like even if you're a seasoned pro, go to the IMS, join up. I mean, he's a very good guy, and his videos are top notch.
I remember his videos from the Burger King commercial.
Yes, yes.
Well,
The Burger
thank
King
you,
commer-
guys. Thank you.
What's with the Burger King commercials, Tony? What did you have an involvement with those?
Okay, the Burger King commercials came about when I had this idea of creating a character for any corporation. It could have been shoe company or pizza company or any product, doesn't matter. The idea was to create a character to appear on TV commercials, do magic, and promote the brand. And I knocked on so many doors, and every one of them said, "Nah, this is not going to work." Uh, just they found 101 reasons not to go with me. And I had a good friend of mine. You guys might remember her, Phyllis Stiller,
Oh yeah.
comedian. And she told me, she says, "Tony, an average sales," and she was a brilliant woman, you know. She said that she was discovered in her mid 30s. She was like 34 years old when she made it, and people say, it's amazing how you made it at age 34. A housewife, mother of 7 kids, and you made it. What they don't realize that she started at 17 years old working in undergrounds, nightclubs, and it took almost lifetime to get there. So people don't remember that. Well, Phyllis Stiller told me, she said, it's a rule of thumb that every salesman knows this. You go and knock on 100 doors, and out of that 100 doors that you're going to knock, 80 of them is going to say no. We are not interested in it. Go away. The remaining 20, but 15 of them will ask a lot of questions, will not buy. And the remaining 5, out of the 5, only 3 will buy. And she said, you have to stay with it. You have to stay and keep going. And every time somebody says no, you have to say, great, I'm getting closer to yes. And based on that advice, I keep knocking on all kinds of corporations' doors. And Burger King asked a lot of questions. It took 9 months for me to make the sale. And end of the day, we created the marvelous magical Burger King, where he'll do magic and be singing a song. I'm the marvelous magical Burger King. I can do most anything. I love magic and I love fun at Burger King. Yeah, that was the jingle. And if any one of you listeners would like to see some of those old commercials, you can go to the International Magicians website, which is IMS. I for India, MS Mary, SSM, imsmagic.com. And then you go to the menu, the hamburger menu, click on the menu, scroll down the Burger King commercials. Lots of fun, lots of great magic. And we're packed in 30 seconds or 60 seconds. And the campaign run for 6 years. And during the 6 years, I created over 200 TV commercials, work 7 days a week, almost 24 hours a day. I mean, it was a passion, and I got burned out. You hear people burn out. That's real. My marriage suffered, my life suffered, and I just resigned. I gave up. They tried to get a couple of magicians. They got Mark Wilson. They got a bunch of other good magicians, but none of them had the desire that I had. And the moral of the story is, if you have that burning desire, you will do it. You'll do it. And if you guys don't mind, I want to go back a little bit. I want to go back to the island of Cyprus where I was born. I was born in 1941, October 1941, on a tiny little island of Cyprus. It's in Mediterranean. Sometimes you see the island Cyprus when there's a news about Israel or Syria or any one of those countries. They're meeting in Cyprus. That's where I was born during the war. And I was a young boy, and I saw two things in Cyprus that kind of changed my life. As a young kid, I watched this magician came to the island. I have never seen magic in my life. To me, magic was the things that you read in the Bible, the miracles, and nobody can do magic. And along comes this traveling magician with a tent, set up the tent, and he was doing basically, based on what I know now, he was doing really a simple basics magic. The beginners will do that. But for me, that was a miracle. Oh my God, he showed this box empty and he produced all kind of candy, threw out the candy, and I caught one. And I had this childish wish. And I said, wow, I sure like to grow up and become a magician. It was just an innocent wish. And then I forgot about it. About 9 months later, Paul Newman was shooting a movie on the island of Cyprus. It was about the Jews escaping Hitler during the war. They were going to Cyprus, and from the Cyprus, they were going to what was known at the time Palestine. That's before Israel, state of Israel was formed. And the movie is called Exodus. People escaping the Europe and going to a safer place. And I didn't know Paul Newman, I didn't know the director, I didn't know the producers, but I watched one guy. And this guy to me was a god. I mean, he was sitting behind a camera, this big camera, and guys are pushing the dolly. And I watched this guy, and it's like, oh my God, I can't believe the power this guy radiated in my mind. Of course, the director was more important, and probably lighting director and his producer. But I didn't see any of that. I saw that guy behind the camera. And a childish, wishful thinking, it said to me, wow, wouldn't it be great if you go up and you become a cameraman like him? Well, guys, I want to tell you something. I accomplished both of those goals. I became one of the leading magicians in the world. I had present the highest magic award to greatest magicians, including Great Blackstone, Doc Hunning, David Copperfield, Siegfried and Roy, Penn and Teller, lately Chris Angel and Shindim, and all of the greatest magicians in the world has received their highest magic award for me. And that is impossible for a kid from tiny little island to achieve that goal. And I want to share with your listeners how that happened. Why did that happen? Because I didn't know it back then, and I never did anything about it, by the way, to become a magician or to become a film director. Never did anything about it. It just happened. And years later, when I came to United States and I worked on both fronts, and then I discovered a book. As a matter of fact, Phyllis Diller told me about this book. It's called The Magic of Believing. And the book was published back in 1948 when I was just that young kid. Think about that. And this book is written by Claude Bristol. You can probably get a copy on Amazon.com for about $5. It's a small book. You probably can read it in one day. It's Claude. Claude, Claude Bristol, Bristol. I'm not the publisher of this book. I don't have any gain for it, but I'm just bringing it up. And I read this book, and I read the book a number of times, and I recommend it to many of my friends. And what it is, it explains that if you want something and you have this desire, you want it, somehow it will come to you. Now, I can explain to you in our 1 hour conversation here. If you really want to know, get the book, but it works. It worked for me. It worked for so many of my friends. I met a guy in Ukraine. Unfortunately, Ukraine is going through hell now. I met a magician, and a Ukrainian magician. He was asking me. He was saying to me, "Hey, how do I become famous?" And I said, "Well, if you can get a TV show, not appearing in a somebody else's show, because nobody's going to remember you. But if you can get your own TV show, you're the star of a show, and the show goes on more than 3 episodes. First episode, people say the magician. The second episode, they might remember your name, but the third episode, wow, so and so forth is on doing magic again." So I gave him all the advice, and I said, "What you need a backer. You need an investor to come in and put up the money, and I will come in and produce the shows for you." Guys, this is no joke. Sergei Savka, 4 months later, called me up and he said, "I have a backer." And I was totally amazed. I said, how did you get a backer? He said, "I don't know." He actually came to me. He says, the guy wanted a magician to do magic, and he decided to talk to me. And the same thing happened with Mahdi Moudini. Those you're on social media, you probably see Mahdi Moudini all the time. In Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, I give him the same advice about finding a backer. He called me up about 6 months later. He said, "I have a backer." "How'd you find the backer?" He says, "The guy found me." It's totally amazing, because there's something out there that if you really want it, if you really truly want it in your heart, it will come to you. It has happened to me so many times.
Tony, we hear a lot about that. If you kind of almost like shape your own world, if there's something out, you attract with what you want, and what kind of energy you put out in the world, it comes back to you. So if you're putting out some positive energy, you're going to get positive energy back. And if you're putting out that energy, that in this passion that you really want something, it's eventually going to find you, and you're proof of that, correct?
Yeah. Well, there's an old saying that they always say, you talk about somebody who made it, and there's always somebody says, "Yeah, but there's so many other talented people like him, but he made it because he was at the right time, the right place." And there might be truth to that. There might be truth that you got to get lucky, and you got to be at the right time in the right place. But there's but to this. You can be at the right time and at the right place. But if you don't know how to take advantage of the situation, you're not prepared, that opportunity is going to pass you by.
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, I tell you what, that's a very good point, Tony, because if you don't have the talent to back it up, I mean, even if it's in the right place at the right time, well, then you missed out. Yeah, absolutely.
It's more than a talent, Chuck, because almost 25 years ago, I went to Winthrop. Well, it's a hospital here in Long Island, just to get my checkup. My doctors are there, and I was getting and I'm sitting in the big waiting room, a lot of people, and everybody, it's hiding behind the magazines and newspapers, whatever they're reading. Nobody's talking to anybody. They're totally strangers. I'm sure you went to doctor's office and you see people, and nobody talks to anybody.
Oh, yeah.
And I decided to stand up and entertain them. Just maybe I make some friends. Who knows? I'm waiting for a doctor anyway. What the hell? So I started doing a couple of tricks, and next thing you know, they're all looking at it, they're talking, this and that. And then there was a guy there, well-dressed guy. And I said, "Sir, could you lend me $1 bill? And I promise I'm going to give it back to you." And I took the $1 bill and I said, "This bill will never leave your side. Never." And I folded it several times. And then when I opened it up, it was a $100 bill. Chuck, you know this trick.
Sure.
The $1 to $100 bill. It's
Right.
one of the most amazing tricks. You can show the both hands empty, show the bill back and forth, and it's $100 bill, and then everybody's just wow, whoa, give him the money back. They expect me to give him the guy the $100 bill. Of course, as a magician, we're switching the bill. But if I was able to actually change $1 to $100, I wouldn't be working. I'd be busy there changing dollar bills every second.
Yeah,
Well,
really.
Tony, I was going to tell you, I sell the folding dollar bill, and I have a couple of hundred here. I was hoping you could change each of them for 100.
Yeah. So the moral of the story, though, let me finish this. The waiting room at the hospital. So the guy gives me a dollar bill, and I change it to 100, and everybody's like, "Whoa, give him the 100." And I said, "I promised him I'm going to give him back his dollar bill." So I reversed the trick. I went back and I fold up and changed it back to $1. And meantime, people asking me if I do birthday parties and this and that, and we exchange business cards. And the guy who gave me the dollar bill, we exchanged cards, and he turned out to be the marketing director for Pepsi Cola.
Oh, wow.
At the time, I was looking for a sponsor. And about 5 months later, the International Magician Society got $2.5 million sponsorship from Pepsi Cola. And we worked out this thing where we were presenting magic at the public libraries across the United States or America, and was sponsored by Pepsi Cola. So the moral of the story, guys, is that, yes, the opportunity was there. The guy was sitting almost next to me. All right? So if and every dollar you ever gonna make is gonna come from another person. The sooner you start talking to another person,
you have
the
to talk.
sooner the money is gonna come to you.
Yeah.
So I was at the right place, but I took that advantage of talking to them and showing them magic, and then exchanging business cards, and as a result making contacts. So it's all about networking. It's all about making friends. It's all about always networking. And then, you of course you have to keep your eyes and ears open, for an opportunity. When I found out he's the marketing director for Pepsi Cola, wow, the light bulb went in my head. I go, okay, this might be my guy. So that's.
Hey, I'll tell you what, magic is a great icebreaker. I mean, really. I mean, you could actually go into a room, like you said, people are sitting there, and you know what, you do a simple little trick or something, and it just breaks the ice. You know what, people start talking, and they become the best of friends. It's amazing. It really is.
Yeah, that's
unbelievable.
I tell you what, that story reminds me of it had to be about maybe 3 years ago or so. I had a I don't know if you know, Tony, I do a little bit of writing, and I put out a few local history books, and I do some writing for some different magazines on mostly classic horror and all that. So there was a guy in my city who had found me on social media, and he wanted to do like a little collaborative thing with his a self-published book he was doing on paranormal and all that. I said, "Oh yeah, that sounds interesting. I'm into paranormal and UFOs and everything, and I had done UFO investigations." So I said, "Hey," I said, I'm going to be out, a few towns over. I'm having a cigar and a coffee. I said, "You want to come meet me at the cigar shop?" I said, "Sit and talk and brainstorm some ideas and all that. See what's up there." And I had never met this guy before, but surprisingly, I knew his wife from school. I went to school with her and all her cousins. But I had never known him. He was actually from Pittsburgh, around Chuck's area.
Oh, okay.
So meet him at the cigar shop, and we're having a cigar and coffee, and there's a nice little crowd in there, and we're talking about the book, and we start talking about UFOs. And I'm explaining, he's really, asking some questions about UFOs and getting into it. And I'm talking to him about UFOs. And, as we're talking, I start looking around. And next thing I know, like everybody that's like in there is like, gathered around us and listening. And I'm like, "Oh, sorry. We talking too loud." And they're like, "Oh no, that's interesting. Keep going. We're listening."
Yeah.
So it was really kind of cool. We got to talk to different people. A lot of people started opening up about UFOs and ghost sightings they had, and I was able to exchange my business card with a few people there that had some UFO sightings and made some really great contacts.
Mm-hmm.
And my buddy, he started talking to some people, and he was able to make some great contacts for his book as well. But it just goes to show, if you kind of, you never know where you're gonna find something. It could be a doctor's office, a store, out in the park. It could be anywhere. So
Oh, absolutely. Hey,
that
great.
energy out there, and you're open to it, you'll get great results for it. And you see a lot of um stuff happening time after time like that. But yeah, it was really interesting that your story kind of reminded me of that time. And it was like everybody just gathered around, and it was a great networking opportunity, and it worked out well for both of us.
Hey, it pays to open your mouth. I mean, you know what?
Really.
I always walk up to people and perform magic and everything. It's a great, like I said, it's an icebreaker, and you know what? It's a very neat way to open up a conversation. I mean, really.
No, guys, over in back in the day, in the early 80s, I was riding the subway in New York from Times Square. And I remember one guy out of nowhere, the subway's packed. It's like 5 p.m. rush hour. And a guy starts in the thing talking and telling jokes. And he goes, guys, I do this for a living. The next thing I know, the train is packed and everybody's giving him, $1, dollars.
Yeah, I know.
His hat.
I know the guy. Presto. He used to do the subways. I remember him. That's Presto. Yeah.
Wow.
He passed away, by the way, a couple of years ago.
Wow.
Amazing guy. He was a very good sleight of hand artist. But you don't really have to have skills or to do magic. There are a lot of self-working magic. A lot of people believe that they cannot juggle, and as a result, they'll never pick up a ball and juggle. That's the belief. But if they feel that they can juggle, they will. So if you think you can do it, you can. If you think you cannot do it, you're not going to be able to do it. So what I want to say is that any of you want to learn magic, we have magic teaching videos, and are free, absolutely free. Just go to the International Magician Society's website and click on free magic. There are lots of beginner's magic. You can do it right after watch the video, and at least that's the beginning. And if you want to learn much more sophisticated magic, you can always go to library, get a book, or there's other ways to learn. But it's a good hobby, breaks the ice, like Chuck says, and it helps you make new friends or new clients, new customers. It's a great hobby.
Yeah, that's great, because we always talk about magic on here, and the current state of magic, and there's a lot of people that I think that want to get into magic but might be intimidated about it. And we always say, pick up a book, do some reading, watch some videos as much as you can, and don't be discouraged if it's something that you want to do. Get into it and start doing it. At least give it a try. Maybe you don't end up liking it, or maybe you do, but at least you gave it 100%. You went in and you tried it, and you could say that you did it. So now that being said, there might be people out there that says, magic's something of the past. It's not big anymore. It's being replaced by social media and YouTube videos and anything else. And we've discussed this a lot out here about the state of, pretty much we really get into everything on here, but we always talk on how stuff always, if it's not popular now, it eventually starts coming around. Case in point, vinyl records, they're becoming absolutely huge, and the price of old records are going up. A lot of new records are coming out, and same with VHS tapes. People are, VHS tapes are becoming hugely popular, and it's not mostly for the tape, but it's the artwork that's on the boxes are very unique. So even the collecting of VHS tapes are coming around, and they haven't been popular in decades. So a lot of things start coming around and go in circles. But I want to get your take on this, Tony. What do you think is the state of magic today? And do you think it's being replaced by anything, or do you think it's starting to become more popular?
Well, Eddie, uh, the vinyl records and the VHS tapes and everything else that you just mentioned, those are collectible items, and there's always going to be collectors collecting whatever it is. I'm one of those people. I have one of Thomas Edison's uh, early gramophones, the ones that is a cylinder record with a big horn. I have one of those. I have one of the early phones. There's always going to be collectibles. Let's get back to magic. Magic, it's a mystery. And there's always been a magic, and there's always going to be magic as long as there are young children coming up. And what was all magic trick to my grandfather, it's a brand new trick to my grandson. Never seen it. To him, it's amazing. Eddie, do you know magic is the second oldest profession in the world? Second oldest profession.
What could be the first?
Yeah, I'm almost afraid to ask. I don't know.
Well, there's been books written about it. The prostitution is the oldest, the first profession, and magic is second. Magic, when someone discovers how to light, how to make fire, that was magic. Every turn of the way, there was new discovery. That became magic. And the early advisors to kings, they were known as magi's, and the old medicine man. Sure. They were known the magi's and medicine man. And Eddie, do you know there has been more books written about magic than anything else except medicine. Medicine is number one. Magic is number two. It's one of the richest hobby you can go into it. Richest. You can live to be 1,000 years old, learn a new trick every day. You're still not going to know all of it. No, it is that true. Rich. That rich. No. And what we have, like on our website, we have the beginner's magic. There's 20 tricks. And every one of those tricks, you can do it from objects found around the house. And it's free. You can go there and learn. Out of the 20 tricks, you'll probably end up doing 3 or 4 of them. Great. Next time you meet friends or family, you're doing several tricks.
I'm going to tell you a story, Tony. Back in the 1980s, probably 83, I think it was, I walk over to the Floss and Horn and Magic Shop in New York, which at the time you boasted to be the oldest shop in America.
Yeah, Jack. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and I go upstairs. Now, this is me, Eddie. I go upstairs and I meet with Jackie Flasso. Now, I didn't realize I was starting at the time. I was starting my mail order business, which I had originally taken over the. At that time I still hadn't taken over, but I had a mail order business I was running, and then later on I became the Fun Factory with the original Lou Weiss owner. We joined up, and the Fun Factory is the one that was founded in the 1970s in all the comic books, and then the Fun Factory turned over to House of the Unusual. But the whole thing is I meet Jackie Flasso, and I had no idea who he was at the time. I didn't realize all the mail order ads he had ran in the early 70s. And I said to him, hey, do you have the book, The Unmasking of Robert Houdin? Now, when you went to the shop, the Flasso Horn and Magic Shop, it was up like on the 10th floor, and it was like a rectangular big office. And he had a mess and a half. There were boxes on the floor. It looked like a typical New York City magic shop, just like D. Robbins used to be in Brooklyn. So I go out, and he looks around, and he goes in the back and comes out with the book. And he comes out and he says, yes, I have a signed copy by Houdini. Oh, wow. He signed the back cover. He shows me, he says, it's not the signed copy, because there was the signature that came with the printing, but he had an additional, and he goes to me, I'd like to get $75 for it. Now, at the time, I was like 18, 19 years old, whatever, and I'm there with my girlfriend at the time, because it was my wife, but early, it was a little bit before we got married. And I tell the guy, in fact, to be honest with you, I don't remember if I was actually married. I think it might have been because it was in that time, so I could have been married, I'm sorry. And I ask, and I'm thinking to myself, well, I only have $85 in my pocket. If I say give him 75, it's not going to give me much to hang out and eat a few things, So I said no. And I said, I'll be back. Never went back. When I realized today, talking about missed opportunities,
Oh my goodness!
Dave Harvestad sold one for $2,200 in the
Wow.
I was with him. And
Yeah, well, Jackie Flasso was a good guy. You know, he was known as the Coney Island Faker.
no, this is the son. The Coney Island Faker was the father. Jackie
Yeah,
Flasso was the son.
no,
Yeah.
I'm talking about his father.
Yeah.
And he was a good guy. I met him when I was a young man, and a kid will come up there and will buy a bunch of tricks, and then he'll say to him, "Hey, you have enough money to go back home?" And if not, he'll give him $1 to go back home. It's one of those old-fashioned guys that he was in it for the compassion and love, not for the money.
You know,
Good.
he reminded me, Tony. I think he reminded me a lot of W.C. Fields. Like
Oh, he did.
Yeah.
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 He was. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
But you know, Tannen's magic came later and compete with Flasso and became the world's largest magic supply house. It ran more like a business. You went in, and Saturdays they had famous magicians coming in, rubbing shoulders with the amateurs. He had a good thing going, Lieutenant. So when I came to New York, I actually ended up working for Lieutenant, making tricks for him. You know, because I was making tricks back in London, England, when I was working for Tony Corinda at the magic shop. So it's there's a lot there, you know. But anyway, talking about the cameraman in Cyprus, I did accomplish that because not only I end up shooting all the Burger King commercials, but I went around the world and actually produced and directed and shoot travel films. There's one of the films on YouTube. You'll find it if you go to Tony Hassini's YouTube page. You'll find one on Russia. I did. This was before the Soviet Union collapse, and you see on this film at the end with the credits how we made this film. You see those big cameras, humongous cameras, the dollies and everything else, including hot air balloons and helicopters, and so when I watched that cameraman doing the Paul Newman movie, and I had that wishful thinking, it happened. It came through. So all you have to have that really, truly wishing. I wish I can do this. It will come to you. Try it, guys. I'm sure you'll get back to me and tell me about it. I sure want to hear about it. And you can always reach me at imsmagic.com. You know, we have an email there, and just send me an email.
I'm wishing right now that Chuck Caputo and Eddie would send me $1 million a piece. Because you got to make that come true.
Hey, that's a big. I'll tell you what. That's a big wish. That's an impossible wish.
No. Actually, what we can do, no, that's not true, Chuck. What we can do is send him $1,000 bills and have Tony convert each one for 100.
Yeah,
and, you know, it might work that way.
There you go.
That's it. We'll make it work one way or another.
Well, you know, guys, talking about a wishful thinking, like I wish I get $1,000. There's an old Cyprus story that my grandfather told me, and probably the story is like 1,000 years old. And there was this poor guy. He lived next to this very wealthy man. The next door neighbor was so wealthy, probably the wealthiest guy in the island. And the poor guy, he goes out in the yard whenever he sees his neighbor, and he raises his arms up in the sky like he's talking to God. And he says, "Oh God, dear God, please send me 1,000 lira. And if you should send me 999, I will not accept it. I will reject it. I need 1,000 lira every day." He's praying 1,000. The rich guy decided, what the hell? I'm gonna put a 999 lira, put it in his sack and throw it over, hit him on the head. So The guy puts 999, but the poor guy is praying, send me 1,000 lira. And if you send 999, I wouldn't accept it. So the rich guy puts the money in a sock and ties a knot on it and throws it and hits him on his shoulder. And the guy, woof, he gets this bang on his shoulder. He looks on the floor, he sees this sock. He picks it up, he feels it. It's like there's money in there. He opens up. Oh my God, God heard my prayers. Let me count it. Make sure there's 1,000 lira. Maybe let me count it. The rich guy is watching. He counts 999. He says, 999. A God that can send me 999. I'm sure tomorrow he's gonna send me another lira. And pockets the money.
That's a good one.
And the rich guy goes, he says, hey, God didn't send it to you. I sent it to you. And there was an argument. But anyway, that's a long story.
There was an argument.
Tony, we got this whole story around, our little podcast form. And I said, I wish I had some old mail order mystery stuff. I don't have, too much of it. I wish I had some mail order mystery stuff. And my good buddy Eddie Guevara said, Joe, hold on. I have some old mail order mystery stuff that I would like to send you, and I'll send you a package for it, and you won't be disappointed. You'll actually be surprised. Very surprised. And I said, oh, Eddie, thank you. I said, I can't wait to be surprised. And so he says, Joe, I sent out the package. My good friend Joe, you will be so surprised when you get this package. And a few days later, I see on my front porch this package. It says House of the Unusual, Eddie Guevara. I said, oh, my good buddy Eddie came through, with the mail order mystery stuff. He's gonna surprise me. And I grabbed the box and I said, wow, this box feels kind of light, but whatever's in here, I'm going to enjoy, because my good buddy Eddie's sending me a surprise. And, I gently opened the box open, and I sure was surprised there, Tony, because the box was completely empty.
Yeah.
He had come through on his promise that he was going to surprise me. He had sent me an empty box.
He surprised you.
That's it. Yeah.
Well, he'll have the gift coming in a sock.
Yeah, and that is an absolutely true story. He sent me an empty box, and I sure was surprised. Ain't that right, Eddie?
Well, it was you and Todd. Todd got the number one. He still kept his, though.
Well, Joe, now it's your turn to surprise him.
Oh, I'm going to surprise him. Yeah.
Now it's your turn. You're going to say, Eddie, you know what? On the you give him a date. Make sure you have a date. Let's say you guys do the talk show every Wednesday night, right? So you say on April, whatever the Wednesday night falls, April 9 or whatever, I'm going to have a real surprise for you, Eddie. You're going to be really surprised. And then the show starts, and you do the whole 9 yards, and you say, I promise, Eddie, I was going to surprise boys and girls and everybody. The show is dead right now. I'm shutting the unit down. That's my surprise. Bang! The show dies. Joe, without you, there's no show.
I'll tell you what, he might reach through the microphone and start choking me. Then I don't know if I want to do that.
And then you say, Eddie, touche.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, that's great, man. So, you know what? I forgot to ask you today, Chuck. How's the magic circuit been the last week? You still been busy? I know last week when we talked, you were swamped.
Yeah.
The week before, but how's this last week been?
Yeah, very busy. We wrapped up a few shows on the weekend. I start up tomorrow, as a matter of fact. I'll be working Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday straight through. So yeah, it's been, it all picked back up, thank God. And it seems like things are pretty much back to normal. So I hope it stays like that. And the weather out here in Pittsburgh has been, I think it was 68 degrees today. It was crazy.
Yeah, wow. That's what we had today too in Northeast Ohio. Was I think it's 67, 68. I actually had the air condition on in the car. But hey, I'm heading out a little, I guess, north of your ways this weekend. I'm going up to the Allegheny National Forest.
Oh, nice.
For the weekend.
Yeah. Well,
cool.
Chuck,
Yep.
Our banquet dinner our 54th anniversary banquet dinner is going to be in Las Vegas at the Orleans Casino Ballroom,
Oh, cool.
May 19. I'm flying there first week in May to prepare for everything. And we're honoring Shin Lim, Magician of the Year. I don't know if you guys know Shin Lim. He won
he's fantastic.
he won the America's Got Talent.
Oh,
Very
he's
popular.
absolutely fantastic. Oh my goodness.
And Banachek is getting the Mentalist of the Year. He's totally out of this world. They both have their own shows in Vegas, and we're honoring a bunch of other good guys. So that's the big thing on my plate right now,
Nice.
getting that party out of the way, because it just takes a lot of preparation.
Well, actually, one of the things that's also coming our way, Chuck, as you know, through Chuck, I was able to connect with Penn and Teller, Mr. Teller, and reach out to him about being in the podcast. And he sent me a few days ago an email, and he stated that he will be calling me, give us at least 15, 20 minutes of live Zoom. So I think what's going to happen when that happens is going to be on a Zoom call, and then I will then publish it on the podcast via Zoom.
Fantastic. Well, Eddie, they're going to be in my party. Just about every magician you ever heard of, they're going to be at my 54th anniversary party. If he doesn't do it, I'll remind it to him.
Cool.
You know, that's a great idea. He texted. I'm hoping it does happen. But yeah, he said they're in the middle of filming the 9th season of Fool Us, and they're planning in June a 30-day, I think, to Australia. They're doing a tour, and they're like overwhelmed. So he seems to be a very nice guy. I mean,
he's a good guy.
I tell you what, Eddie, I caught a few of those. We had talked about it a few weeks ago. I caught a few of those episodes. They're really good. I tell you what, there's some really cool young magicians out there with some just fantastic acts and everything. And there was a few where Penn and Teller were fooled. There was a few where it seemed like they were going to be fooled, but they knew what it was. But man, I tell you what, really entertaining. I'm gonna have to go back to season 1 and start watching it all the way.
Absolutely.
Well, you know what? I don't think anybody can fool Penn and Teller, to be honest with you. They sometimes pretend they got fooled, because otherwise the show loses the excitement. You need ups and downs, but they're so talented. They're like a walking encyclopedia.
Oh, they're very knowledgeable.
Magic.
Yeah.
And I don't know anybody can fool them, but it's a TV show. You know, you gotta once in a while.
There was one particular that I thought this was funny, because I could see there was one person, a young kid, I think it was about 17, 18, and he was doing the oil and vinegar thing with card tricks, but he did the part of it at the end where he put the cards and he put right through the cards a ring. He popped a hole in them and he put a ring, and it changed. And Penn was kind of frustrated that he couldn't figure how the kid had done it right in front of him. And he grabbed the kid's cards. He goes, "Can I have this?" And he went to check it. And then it was kind of funny, because he goes to the guy, "You know, I asked you for this." He goes, "I want to apologize because I feel like a heel. I took the cards from you. You know, you basically had no choice but to give them to me. I put you in a position. But you know, but I could see he did, because he took it because Penn had to see how the heck the guy did the trick, you know." And it really kind of like got him where he's like, "Wait a second." But when he got the cards, he was looking at it and so obviously he learned what it was. But I thought that was funny. That's the only time that I think, like you said, they can be fooled. But that one time, I think he kind of like, you could see he went ahead and grabbed the things right off the table and took it to the chair to sit down, you know?
Oh, yeah. I tell you what, you have some amazing talent out there. You know what, when I do lectures to like different magicians, you know what I always tell them, you know, I just don't like to perform magic. So if you feel you have something that's really very, very, like amazing, you know what, if you want to show me after when I'm done, you know, and there is usually maybe 2 or 3 people that come up and they show me some stuff. You know what, it's like the average person, you know what, you wouldn't think would be able to do something. They come up with some of the most amazing magic. I mean, it is really something to see, you know.
Shin Lim is one of those.
Yeah, absolutely.
I agree with you, Chuck. But guys, you haven't asked me a question that I thought you will, because quite often when I do interviews. I don't do that much interviews, but when I do, one of the first questions they ask, why did you start it? International Magician Society.
Hold on. Let me get it because I was just going to get to that too. But
Okay.
Tony,
go ahead and ask.
Tony, I was just wondering, what made you start the International Magician Society?
Good job. Good job, Eddie. All right.
Yes, I got it.
Good job. Okay. All right. All kidding around. Chuck knows this, but some of the magicians know this. I am probably the example of a disabled person that had no chance no chance at all making it because I have a dyslexia, horrible dyslexia. Everything is in reverse, is in a mirror image. If you guys don't know anything about it, just Google it. It's a syndrome, dyslexia. Steven Spielberg came out of a closet. He admitted he has dyslexia. He said it takes him twice as long to read a book, and that's true because we have to read it and backward and reverse it in our mind. And on the top of that, I wear hearing aids. I was born almost legally deaf, and so I have to wear these heavy hearing aids. And I was very shy because of that. Kids used to make fun of me. I couldn't do well in the school. So when kids makes fun of you, you lose your sense of confidence. I couldn't even look at you in the eye and talk to you. I'd be looking down in the ground. And when I left Cyprus and went to London, England, and somehow by miracle chance, I got a job in a magic shop because I was looking to work, and Tony Corinda, who wrote the 13 Steps to Mentalism, he owned several magic shops, and I got to work for him. And when I learned my first trick, the acrobatic matchbox, and I started showing around, people said, wow, how did you do that? And right there and then, I gained my self-confidence, like I was somebody, people asking me. And I thought about it, that I said, if magic helped me find my way, there must be other kids out there that can benefit from it. That was a single purpose of creating IMS, because at the time, and it's still today, it still exists. You have the Society of American Magicians, a respectable society, International Brotherhood of Magicians, very respectable, London Magic Circle, respectable, Hollywood Magic Castle, the European Society, which is known as FISM, all great. But IMS became the largest, and I created an award that became the Oscar of Magic, and every great magician accepted this award. As a result, if you Google the Merlin Award, you will see every great magician received it. But my prime interest was to create the largest library. And Chuck is one of the teachers. He taught 2 volumes of the library. We have the largest magic video library that kids can go and learn. I thought that if I can reach out and touch one kid and change his life, it will be worth for me to create this society. And initially, in the beginning, nobody took me serious, and I had to convince them. I had to convince the famous magicians what I was doing, and they became supportive of the IMS. And that means a lot to me. That library, we have thousands and thousands of videos that is in our library. Anything you ever want to know in magic, doesn't matter what, it's in the library, and you don't have to read it. It's a video library. We took the best card magician, so we let him teach. Harry Lorraine is the best card magician. We let Harry Lorraine teach card magic. We took the best coin teacher. David Roth passed away, the greatest coin magic. We had him teach the coin magic. So we took the guys that they're in best in what they do, and we brought them to teach, because these guys, they cannot be at 10 places at the same time. They cannot be in London, Paris, and New York. Impossible. But through the library, that they are forever. Some of these guys passed away, God bless their soul, but they're going to live forever in the video library. That's the reason I started. So now I answered the question.
Well, that's great. I mean, that's a great story of why it was started, and it should be said that, you know, everyone out there, there should be no, you know, there's no excuse for doing what you want to do, and you see examples every day of people with, you know, every kind of disability in different ones, and they are just doing phenomenal things out there that you would never think could be done.
Absolutely.
By a person without a disability, let alone with a disability, and they don't even let it phase them or handle them. So, you know, if you're somebody out there that wants to get into magic and you're making excuses, Tony's going to tell you out there is no excuse. Get it done, or else we're going to chuck over to your house with the.
They just have to go to, you know, search, go to Google, whatever, and go IMS. I as in India, MS Mary, SSM, IMSmagic.com, and they'll be on the front page. Click on free videos.
Awesome.
And you're on your way. You're on your way.
Awesome. You know, and we'll have a link in the show notes as well for everyone out there. But we're coming down. We got about 4 minutes left, so we're gonna go through a little round robin real quick and just give some final thoughts. And Eddie, we're gonna start with you. What's some final thoughts for you, bro?
Well, the final thing is that the new House of the Unusual website, I'm going to vamp it up a little. I'm going to put a new video. I'm going to change the format, and I'm not going to have the membership thing pop up anymore that Joe is so angry about. So you'll be able to join our mailing list, but it's not going to be put on your nose.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I've been asking for months for that, and it's like Christmas 2022 for me now.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. It's a situation too. Mr. Joe wants to change platforms for our podcast, which I agree. The thing is, when you have almost 80 shows and you got to download each one of them to make sure that there's no mishap. Last thing we need is 3 years of podcasts to go down to 2.
Well, you know what? I figured you weren't busy enough, Eddie. So
I know. So you want me to do, but you know what? I think Joe is entitled for another empty box in the future.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, we're gonna turn it over to our fantastic first time guest today, Tony Hassini. And Tony, what's some last words for everybody?
My last words, guys. God bless you all. I'm really concerned about the war in Ukraine. I have lots of friends in Ukraine and Russia. Both sides good people. It's just that unfortunate that Putin has these ideas of recreating the Soviet Union, which cannot be done. And as a result, people are suffering. I just found a way to send some money to Dmitry Mosin, and he's distributing the money among the Ukrainian magicians. I tried to send them by bank, unbelievable banks. They're not doing business in Ukraine. This is unheard of. And I found a way that I got some money in for them. And that's about it, you know. And other than that, everything else, we all have good life. We have homes, we have cars, we have 3 meals a day, we have everything we want. And there's some people out there suffering. That's a shame.
Yep. Well said. Well said. All right, Mr. Caputo, it's on you, brother. Last words.
All right. Hey, it was a great podcast tonight. You know what? I'm very thankful, like Tony said, for my family and the great country that we live in, and I'm thankful to be part of the House of the Unusual. And I'll forever be thankful for Tony Hassini for putting me on his IMS about 20 years ago, man. I mean, he was the only one that gave me a chance for my for the electronic magic / the inverted magic. So thank you, Tony, and I wish you continued success, and God bless.
Awesome.
God bless everybody.
Great said. All right, everybody, thank you for joining us once again. Everybody out there in podcast land, thank you for joining us every week on whatever platform you're listening to us on. Please subscribe to our channel and give us a good review if you so choose to. And remember, we're here every Wednesday. We're recording and coming out Thursday morning is when the new podcasts hit, and we're here every week for you. And we appreciate all of our listeners out there. And please spread the word. So Eddie, Chuck, and Tony, hey, thanks for joining us. And Tony, huge thank you to you for joining us. And we hope to hear you on here again. And guys, take care and good night.
Okay, God bless.
Thank you,
Take
John.
care.
God bless.
Thank you. Thank you. Good night. Good night.